never be sick.
It is everything you've dreamed of.
We won't get any older.
It is nothing you expect.
And we won't ever die.
It is the mystery of an awesome secret. Cocoon. 20th Century Fox presents a fantasy to fill your heart. From the producers of Jaws and the director of Splash. Cocoon. Rated PG-13.
Coming June 21st to a theater near you.
I must quit wearing soft contact lenses because my eyes are easily irritated. Then I heard...
Sensitive eyes need sensitive eyes. Michael's eye care professional said the problem was his saline solution. Now Michael uses Bausch & Lomb's Sensitive Eye Saline Solution. No burning, no redness. Proved 99% irritation-free.
Now I wear my contacts every day.
Try Sensitive Eyes soft contact lens care products from Bausch & Lomb, first choice of eye care professionals.
Summer, the perfect time to break from burgers and dive into Taco Bell's taco salad.
Summer! Now's the time for something light. Summer! Cool and crisp and oh so bright. Summer! A taco salad made for you. So fresh, so cool, refreshing too. Taco Bell.
Taco salad.
It's just made for
Summer.
It's coming, the Hacky Sack Frisbee Festival. You'll see and play Hacky Sack Footbag, the new sport that's sweeping the country. You'll see experts doing Frisbee Disc Freestyle. You'll see Frisbee Disc Ultimate, the sport that combines the excitement, skill, and action of football and soccer. Experts will be on hand to help beginners in Hacky Sack and coach more experienced players in Hacky Sack and Frisbee. The Hacky Sack Frisbee Festival is free for all.
Attempts to rescue and reprogram his son on V. And at 9, it's the action-packed Miami Vice. Let's all be there tonight on TV 11.
I'm Paul Majors.
And I'm Marty Burns-Wolf. Coming up next on the News 11 Hour, Hennepin Avenue hassles. Every woman gets them, and we'll take you along to prove it.
The second murder of an elderly Minneapolis resident has police stumped tonight.
Would Minnesota be set for war? The answer is probably not. We'll tell you why.
And we'll meet a nature lover whose living room sounds like the great outdoors.
Diana Pierce is on special assignment tonight. The News 11 Hour is next.
In the showdown between the colas, one fact stands clear. One cola's changed, and one cola's chosen. Pepsi, the choice of a new generation.
Thank you.
Steven Spielberg presents The Goonies, a Richard Donner film.
Started the tunnel. I don't want to go on any more of your crazy Goonies adventures.
They've stumbled onto a legend,
And they got chocolate eruption.
but they're not alone.
The summer now.
The Goonies, rated PG.
Now playing at a select theater near you. Check newspapers for listing.
Where's the action?
Cadillac action. Now at your Twin Cities Cadillac dealer.
These men are on their way to work. Their office, the Pennzoil Penske Super Truck. Inside, a car designed to win championships. Only one motor oil makes it inside the truck. Only one motor oil makes it inside this race car. Pennzoil.
Around here, Pennzoil protection is part of the equipment.
News 11 at 6, beginning Monday.
Now, from the action center of the Twin Cities, News 11 with Paul Majors, Diana Pierce, Tom Ryther on sports, and meteorologist Paul Douglas.
Good evening. Topping tonight's News 11, a police crackdown on street people in Minneapolis, and our News 11 investigative unit is on hand to bring you the pictures.
Today's arrest capped an intensive sweep of homeless people in the downtown area.
Today, 12 people were arrested on Hennepin Avenue. Charges against them range from disorderly conduct to the sale of drugs. The sweep, which started Monday, is an attempt by police to reduce the growing number of vagrants and transients on downtown streets, which they say is leading to increased crime. Monday, 20 vagrants were hauled to jail from under the 5th Street Bridge, and yesterday, more were taken into custody. Kevin McDowell has that story.
This stretch of Glenwood Avenue in Minneapolis is the kind of street, with its rundown empty buildings and seedy look, you want to say has seen better days, but even those probably weren't too good. Lately, it's become an area where vagrants congregate. In this two-day cleanup, police yesterday took 7 people into custody, some former members of the Hells Angels with outstanding felony warrants.
My name is Jackie Lee Steinbach, Jr.
Do you have a home?
Yes, I do.
Where?
In this backpack.
Where are you from?
Beaumont, Texas. B-A-U-M-O-N-T. Roll the camera.
What are you doing up here?
Roll the camera.
It is.
Traveling. Traveling.
Get in that van or I'll throw you in head first.
Why are you arresting?
And I'm a nice guy. What do you call me, guys, down right now?
What?
You call me what? No good son of a gun?
Many of these transients will end up in the detoxification center.
I'm sober.
Want to go back to Texas?
Police say that they're facing a sort of catch-22 in all this, because the vagrants they take to the detox center are out, usually within 72 hours, and that means they're back out here on the street. But police say they'll continue the roundups, hoping that the vagrants get the message. The message simple: get out of town. In Minneapolis, Kevin McDowell, News 11.
This two-day sweep is only a part of the crackdown on crime in Minneapolis that our investigative team has been covering. It's been underway all spring along Hennepin Avenue, and tonight we get a first-hand look at that. News 11 photographer Barb Hill has been covering the sweep and volunteered to take part while our cameras recorded what happened. And what happened is not nice. Here's what she found along Hennepin Avenue.
Hello. As I walked down Hennepin Avenue, a lot of questions came to mind. What is it about this street and these people that make me feel so nervous? What?
I just want to talk to you for a little bit.
Oh, I'm just going to go get a Coke.
Can I go with you?
No, thanks. Please. No, thanks. The answers were easy. On Hennepin Avenue, many men assume the worst about a woman.
Where did you buy those Levi's? I think I like them.
The county seat?
Maybe I like you.
What are you doing?
Waiting for a bus.
Want to go out?
What?
Want to go out and have a girlfriend?
What are you talking about?
Take you out?
No, thanks. Even though I told this man I was going to McDonald's and then to catch a bus, he pursued me. I tried not to stall as I walked to the corner, but the stranger kept right up with me.
Which McDonald's are you going to?
Huh?
Which McDonald's are you going to?
McDonald's? The one in the city center.
You told me I could walk with you.
Oh, no thanks. I'm just, I'm gonna... No, I didn't. Sorry. Bye-bye. It was amazing to me that a lone female can become prey so quickly on the avenue.
Got joints for sale.
Oh, thanks. And that many of the men think there's a price for any woman here. Sorry. No, thanks. The scene was repeated over and over in the 4 trips along the notorious city block. Young people sometimes stood within a few feet smoking what appeared to be marijuana. Out in the open, not worrying about the law. Over and over, men propositioned me, some asking to become my pimp.
For real. Nobody but me. I'm all alone, darling. So,
not tonight.
Just give me some.
Several times this spring, I've been hidden in surveillance trucks while officers swept the street, picking up prostitutes, pimps, and johns, arresting drug users and pushers. It changes very little. The users, the dealers, the johns, and the hookers are back each night. They were all spring, they will be again this summer. With photographer Jeff Wilkin, I'm Barbara Hill along Hennepin Avenue. Just walking.
A bizarre drowning in Golden Valley has left a Plymouth man dead tonight. His body was found in Bassett Creek this morning in less than 2 feet of water. He's identified as William Borchardt, and police believe he drowned as he headed across the creek from his nearby workplace to lunch yesterday. They found Borchardt's thick glasses a distance from where he was found and say he may have lost them, become disoriented, fell, and drowned.
For the second time this week, Minneapolis homicide investigators have the death of an elderly person to solve. As Alan Costantini reports, the latest case is in the city's Kenwood neighborhood.
Residents in Kenwood found police searching doorsteps, yards, and even garbage this morning, looking for clues in another mysterious senior citizen death. The victim was 77-year-old Cedric Arthur Williams, a quiet man who had lived at 900 Summit Avenue for many years. A friend found his body just after 9 this morning at Williams' fourth-floor apartment. Police offer little comment except to say the victim was tied up and there were no gunshot wounds. Tuesday, the body of a 68-year-old man was found beaten to death in a 7th-floor apartment just a mile away.
I don't believe that they are connected. Of course, they certainly could be. The only comparison now is that they are both men beyond 65 years of age.
Later, Deputy Chief Lutz admitted there are circumstances in the apartment that raise some questions. Questions have been raised about building security in the death earlier this week, but building manager William Kuhn says security at Summit and Bryant is excellent.
Definitely. I would say it's I would rate it as from a 1 to a 10, I would rate it at an 8.
And yet there is another death in a secure building and another case for police to solve. Alan Costantini, News 11, Minneapolis.
The medical examiner's office is still trying to determine the cause of Cedric Williams' death. We hope to have that information for you tonight on News 11 at 10 o'clock.
Police in Winona tonight are continuing to investigate the murder of a 40-year-old woman in that area. The woman was discovered by a neighbor yesterday in her home with multiple stab wounds. Police have no suspects in the case and have called on the State Bureau of Criminal Apprehension to help investigate the death.
Striking machinists at Union Brass in St. Paul picked up some support on the picket line today. Members from several local unions turned up to stand beside the strikers who've been off the job since May 1st. They were there to confront workers who have been crossing the picket line, but most non-union workers foiled the plan by showing up early for work. Wages are at the heart of the conflict. Another bargaining session is set for a week from Tuesday.
It's a good thing we didn't hold our breath, but some major agreements were actually reached today at the state capitol. First, the welfare bill. Lawmakers stuck pretty close to the governor's proposal and will keep 3,000 unemployed people on welfare. However, 12,000 others will be required to take job training while they get their welfare checks. And public school funding has been agreed upon tonight. That bill also contains money for an arts high school. That leaves one more major hurdle, spending for state departments, which won't be talked over again until Monday. The governor says he's pleased at the progress and hopes to call a special session by Thursday.
A spring session at the University of Minnesota is all but over tonight. Classes ended today and final exams will be held next week. And the final day at Breck's Lower School in St. Louis Park marked the graduation of 4th graders today. The youngsters will be moving on to middle school next year, so today they got the opportunity to take center stage and thank their teachers and friends for years of support. And just like any other graduation, there were plenty of hugs and smiles at the reception following the ceremony.
Pretty big day for them.
Yes.
Coming up next on News 11, we'll visit 2 communities torn apart by tornadoes 1 year ago.
And we'll have news of some of those residents reaching out to the east to help tornado victims there. Please stay with us.
Rain may never fall till after sundown. By 8 the morning fog must disappear. In short, there's simply not a more congenial spot for happily ever aftering than here.
Hey, there's an easier way of cutting weeds than that, son, with my new Toro gas trimmer. The Toro-built engine starts just like this. It has plenty of power for even the toughest jobs. And easy, why, you can feed new line automatically. There. Thanks. And another thing, son. Slow down that backswing.
Available at these and other participating Toro dealers.
Remember how ice cream tasted when you were a kid? The Wells Blue Bunny does. He remembers when cream was so thick it would barely pour, when sun-ripe fruit was hand-picked, when nuts came straight from the shell and candy was homemade. And he's brought back those wonderful old-time flavors in his old-fashioned premium ice cream. True premium ice cream, made with old-fashioned care, packed in 1 quart and half-gallon round cartons. Blue Bunny old-fashioned premium ice cream. Enjoy.
To create the perfect home, start with the windows. The windows more people come home to than any other. Andersen Windows. Far more energy efficient than ordinary windows, with a life of easy openings and closings and a beauty that will endure for generations. Andersen Windows and patio doors are built to last, like the homes they're built into.
Come home to quality. Come home to Andersen.
Available at Lampert Yards Incorporated, Stewart Building Mart, Interstate Lumber Company, and Great Plains.
Nothing works like a Chevy truck. Nothing works like a Chevy truck. Tough on the job, easy on the block. Nothing works like a Chevy truck.
Rugged, massive girder beam front suspension, tough double wall construction in critical areas, and new Vortec V6 power. A hard day's work goes easier when you have a truck with the built-in tough of a Chevy.
Nothing works like a Chevy truck. Nothing works like a Chevy truck.
When a tornado rips through a community, the sense of destruction and loss is soon replaced by community togetherness as residents work to rebuild their shattered lives. Now, communities separated by hundreds of miles will have the same feeling of teamwork because some folks from Barneveld, Wisconsin, where a tornado hit 1 year ago, are heading east to help the victims of last week's tornadoes in Pennsylvania, Ohio, and Canada. But even though it's been 1 year since the twisters tore through Barneveld, residents are still rebuilding their town, their homes, and their lives. And it's also been exactly 1 year since the residents of Albert Lea fell victim to tornadoes. Tonight, we revisit those two communities 1 year later in this team report, beginning with Ellen Costantini.
Well, it was cracked from the tornado, and the wind just blew the other half down this morning.
This wasn't just another fallen branch at the Burgess home in Albert Lea. It was as though Mother Nature doesn't want the Burgess family to forget that 1 year ago today, they lost the whole house. One, perhaps two tornadoes destroyed all the family's earthly possessions. But in rebuilding, Nancy Burgess says they learned what was really important.
We realized how many friends we had. The friends, they were out here and helped us clean up. We had this cleaned up in about 3 days.
The one item that survived the storm was Nancy's camera. She used it to be sure they would never forget.
We had just cleared everything off the top, and we had to cover it with silo canvas so the rain wouldn't get into the basement. We was trying to save as much of that as we could. They started to put the walls up. Probably about August, they had the whole thing enclosed. Shingled it through the night because of the threat of rain. And as soon as they got enclosed, the roof was on and it was all sealed up, and we moved into the basement. In November, we moved upstairs.
Ed Schleid was actually carried off by the tornado, trapped inside his flying house. The house was destroyed. Ed still wonders how he survived.
When the house and I were flying through the air, I was thinking that I hear that most people don't get killed, and there's not a lot of people that get killed in a tornado, and I was wondering why I was one of the few that was going to, because I was sure I wasn't going to walk away, but the way it turned out, felt pretty lucky.
The power of this storm is still evident in the toppled and twisted trees here behind Ed Schleid's house. The tornado took these out first, then they'll come back last. You can rebuild a house in a year, but it takes a little longer for Mother Nature to replace a tree.
1 year later, the builders are just finishing Ed and Jean's new home. Their sights are set on new horizons now, but like Nancy Burgess, when the wind blows, they remember. And their new house has a deep basement, just in case. Several people in Barneveld, Wisconsin cannot just remember the tornado that devastated their town just 1 day after the Albert Lea storm, because, as Melissa Young reports, they did not survive it.
The devastation in Barneveld was complete. 9 dead, more than 100 homes destroyed, every business in town gone. Ben Tilley was among those who lost everything. Today, Ben and his wife May live just a few blocks from their old home.
How many's left?
May still babysits for her friends and neighbors, just like she's done for 38 years. She says despite their loss, they are thankful they escaped with their lives.
Our grandson that stays with us a lot didn't happen to be with us, or he would have been in the rec room, which was gone.
So you have to look at it that way, but there's so much to be thankful for.
Today, signs of the tornado's devastation remain, but there are even more signs of new building.
The Barneveld State Bank is in the process of rebuilding. Across the way, a new park is being planned, and over here, a brand new medical center will be part of the new Barneveld.
80 new homes have replaced those now gone. This is the 28th new basement Jerry Custer has dug in the past year. Businesses are also getting a fresh start. All of this is possible because of the tremendous outpouring of support since the tornado. $800,000 in private donations, more than $2 million in federal loans and grants. But red tape is tying the rebuilding process in knots. Barneveld Implements has come a long way since the storm, but desperately needed federal loans have yet to come in.
They approved ours way last fall and just started to get a little bit of the money now, and it's still a long ways from getting it anything that would amount to a lot to help you.
Still, the physical scars are healing. The emotional ones will take longer. Melissa Young, News 11 in Barneveld, Wisconsin.
Among the volunteers from Barneveld heading east to aid in the tornado cleanup there is the Reverend John Weaver, whose 138-year-old congregation never missed a Sunday service, even when twisters destroyed their church and their town.
Our June heat wave has people by the hundreds heading to the city lakes. Lake Calhoun was packed shore to shore this afternoon with sunbathers and water lovers of all kinds. But even with all the fun the sunshine can bring, lifeguards are warning swimmers and boaters to be careful. Each year, an average of 3 people drown in the Minneapolis lakes, and even though guards are on duty, that does not guarantee your safety. And it was a beautiful morning to be on a billboard today, at least for a couple of crazy disc jockeys. They are Buck and O'Connor from KDWB Radio, who were brushing up on their outdoor broadcast skills. The pair, wearing safety straps, of course, did their morning show from the billboard on Interstate 494 near 35W. Now, that sign has changed a bit since it first went up as part of the station's promotional campaign. The billboard has been vandalized to funny up the faces of the zany duo.
Sort of makes them look like the Road Warriors.
I think it works.
Coming up next on News 11, the bare necessity of food means campers up north will have to be on the lookout.
And for food growers, Mike Igo will help you plot a course to a healthier garden. We'll have that and more next.
Love her. If she wounds you, love her. If she tears your heart to pieces, love her, love her, love her.
You make that word sound like a curse.
Do you know what love is?
Never in our history are sales so successful as our anniversary sale just passed here at Towsley Ford Subaru. And right now, our largest selection ever of fresh trade-ins, hundreds to choose from. To move them out fast, we have clearly marked reduced sale prices on every one. Most makes in every price range. $175 under $5,000, $150 under $3,000, $100 under $2,000. Finance people on the premises so you can drive away the same day. Used car savings right now. It makes it worth your trip to Towsley Ford Subaru, White Bear Lake.
Hi, I'm Bert Ruttman. Palmer and I want you to come out to the Lindale Garden Center for our Spring Spectacular sale.
Father's Day is coming, and during Lindale Garden Center's Spring Spectacular, all Echo weed and grass trimmers are specially priced. Come on in for a demonstration, and you'll see why Echo is the one that lasts. And check out the complete selection of Dexol Yard Care chemicals. There's no mixing, they're ready to use. Buy 2 specially marked bottles and get a $3 rebate. Lindale Garden Center, 2 blocks south of the crosstown on Lindale in Richfield.
The legendary kingdom of Camelot.
The rain may never fall till after sundown.
Richard Harris is the king, Guinevere his wife, Lancelot his friend.
If ever I would leave you.
Their story, like Camelot itself, is a romance which cannot last forever. Come, share the dream while you can.
Here in Camelot.
Tickets at all Daytons and the Orpheum to charge. Call 339-1800.
If you're going camping this weekend in Superior National Forest, take heed of the warning, beware of the bears. Hungry bears have damaged several cars, tearing off chrome and ripping off vinyl roofs. The bears trying to break into cars is a new problem, and forestry officials are warning people not to leave any food in their cars.
But if you're going to stay home for a little outdoor fun this weekend, you may find yourself out in the garden. And tonight, Mike Igo talks about protecting your vegetables now as they start their journey up and out of the ground. Here's Mike's weekly garden report.
hard at bringing your garden along. Now it's time to add another protection, so your plants will prosper. Spacing your plants not only increases your yield, but also acts as a good defense against deadly diseases. When plants are overcrowded, it limits air circulation and provides perfect conditions for fungi and diseases to grow more readily. Spraying, of course, is still another solution.
The optimum application of a fungicide would be before it rains. What you want to do is coat the leaf so that when the rain splashes on it, the fungal spores do not splash from leaf to leaf and the leaf surfaces are protected.
Avoid walking through your garden during rainy weather or when the leaves are wet. That will also transfer diseases. And even if you have a small garden, try to rotate your crops. Plants like tomatoes, potatoes, eggplants, and peppers will resist disease better when their location is changed from year to year. So these extra precautions will ensure that all your careful cultivating will mean a healthy harvest. This is Mike Igo, Action 11.
Sort of sounds like gardening music, doesn't it? Remember, Mike will track down the answers to your lawn and garden questions and maybe send you a copy of that music. Just send him along anything to Mike Igo at Action 11, Box 111, Minneapolis, 55440.
Well, still to come. Norwest decides how to fill the hole in the ground in downtown Minneapolis. Kevin McDowell will have that in dollars and cents.
And Barry Finn, sitting in for Paul Douglas, says our hot and muggy weather may mean trouble is brewing. Barry's forecast is coming right up.
It's out of this world. Levitt's lowest prices of the year.
You'll find hundreds of outstanding bargains. For example, choose colonial style, traditional, or contemporary style dresser and mirror set for only $197. That's right, dresser and mirror for only $197. Choose colonial, traditional, or contemporary style at one low price. And that's not all. Additional pieces are also sale priced. You'll love it at Levitt's lowest prices of the year.
Are you just a number to your phone company? 973, blah, blah, blah. Well, you're number one to Sprint. You're important to them. I'm not kidding. You can talk to them anytime. A real person. 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. They're there. And Sprint spent $1 billion last year to make sure you come through loud and clear. It's your choice. You can be somebody to Sprint or a big zero to somebody else. Call Sprint. Find out about it.
Where is your Ingle Nook?
It's where you go for that special time to have some fun or just unwind. It's that peaceful place you have in mind. Where is your Ingle Nook? It could be a hideaway where you go to dream or dine or play, to sail a boat or read a book. Where is your Ingle Nook?
Right here.
Where else?
Around 11 country tonight, wood carving and weaving, paintings and pottery. It's all part of the Edina Art Fair on 50th in France. There's crafts by more than 200 artists in clay, fiber, glass, jewelry, and leather. There are also oils, watercolors, and photographs. The fair continues through Sunday. In Duluth, the chance to be a movie star. Girls competed last night for the chance to be in an upcoming movie called Star Dancer. The movie is to be based on a story of a rural girl who's made into a star. Last night was the first night of the competition in Duluth. That contest will last for 10 weeks. And in Roberts, Wisconsin, anticipation of Good Neighbor Days. The annual festival will be this weekend, and today workers were putting some finishing touches on some of the fun and games of the festival. There will be a carnival, a parade, dances, and a tractor pull, of course. Proceeds from the festival are used for community projects in Roberts.
Maybe you can guarantee the folks in Roberts some decent weather. You did a good job of today, just like you promised. The sun came out this
Absolutely.
afternoon.
Hot and sticky, and we did get warm. In fact, today has just been the tied for the warmest day so far this season, and tomorrow should become the warmest because the heat is indeed turned on. If you were outside earlier this afternoon and felt a bit uncomfortable, take a look at why. Look at the high, 87 sweltering degrees, all that after an overnight low of only 63. A trace of moisture out at the airport. Sun will be setting at 8:26. Currently, under mostly sunny skies is our current high of 87. Winds are west at 18. Now, the dew point is up to 58. The humidity, a little bit misleading, 38%. Certainly is much more uncomfortable out than that. Pressure right now is rising at 29.80. Take a look at some of the lows around the nation this morning, and you can see this big tongue of warm air just literally diving up toward the 11 country and much of the upper Midwest, and we have very warm, mild air, and that's going to stay with us for at least the next 24 hours, and it's going to get even warmer. We'll take a look at the satellite photographs since about 5 o'clock this morning. Now, yesterday I said the sun had come out early. We had some showers this morning. Well, a little wimpy cold front went through, and it was so wimpy it decided to stay around for a while. You can see that a lot of these clouds just kind of hung around. Watch what happens as we go through the next several hours. They started to build a little bit by about 7 o'clock. By noontime, some showers and thunderstorms developing. Currently, take a look at this one big puff out there in the eastern Dakotas, and that, my friends, is not a big cotton ball. You may think it is. That is a mesoscale convective complex. A whole group of thunderstorms. In fact, a number of severe thunderstorm warnings out around Huron, and that is moving eastward. That has prompted the Severe Storms Forecast Center to put out a severe thunderstorm watch for much of the southern third of Minnesota. That watch will stay in effect until about 11 o'clock, and there are numerous scattered showers and thunderstorms. Let's go to live Doppler 11. We'll find out exactly where they are, and you can see that most of them are indeed to our west and to our south. The movement of all these storms is to the southeast. Most of them should escape the metro regions, but we can't rule out the risk of it. When you get it this hot and humid, you can pop up one just about at any time. But again, the heaviest storms now staying well down to our south. And in fact, one real heavy storm toward the La Crosse area now just starting to dissipate a little bit. There's been some hail, some strong winds, and some heavy downpours with these storms. So if you live in the southern third of the state, keep your eyes peeled to the skies because you may indeed see a heavy thunderstorm. We'll go back to the computer and find out why and see that that wimpy cold front is still hanging around. Look at it. It's going to slowly march through, but as it does, it triggers those showers and thunderstorms. The warm air well up to our north. Take a look at some of these temperatures at 5 o'clock this afternoon. 87 in the cities. Just down to our south, 93. Mankato got to about 92 before the thunderstorms moved in. As we head a little bit further to the southwest, 103s. These are hot temperatures, and they are coming our way, and they were going to stay here for a little bit. But by late tomorrow, here comes the leading edge of cool air. Now, our atmosphere has gotten quite irritated. If you spend a few hours outside tomorrow, you're going to get very irritable when it's hot and humid. Same thing with the atmosphere. And along comes this cool air. That is going to set the stage for some rather heavy thunderstorms, I'm afraid, late tomorrow afternoon and tomorrow night. You're going to want to keep up to date on the latest forecast. The potential exists greatest over the northern part of Minnesota, but we can't rule out any here in the immediate Twin Cities. By Sunday, though, it all pushes by. We get back into cool, refreshing breezes. Take a look at the forecast for tonight. It is going to be downright mild and muggy, uncomfortable. Keep the windows open and maybe throw some ice cubes around your mattress or under your spread. 62 to 66. Tomorrow, record heat. The record for the date, incidentally, 90 degrees in 1874. We will break that. We'll get up to 92. Showers and sun. Cool it down on Sunday, 75. Look at Monday and Tuesday. We get back to something more normal, Marty and Paul. I can't wait. You know, it's nice to get warm, but it gets sticky and uncomfortable.
I saw the smile on your face when you said showers. Yes, well, that's the first time we've done that in a while.
That's right.
Thanks, Barry.
It's been more than 2 years since one of Minnesota's major corporations has had a place to call home, but it finally looks like that will change. Kevin McDowell has the details in tonight's Dollars and Cents. Kevin, who are we talking about here?
Norwest, good news for them, good news for Dayton Hudson tonight, good news for Donaldson's. A lot of good news tonight, Paul. After a series of stops and starts, it looks like Norwest Corporation will finally have a home base again. Officials for the company have announced that Gerald E. Hines Interests, a Houston developer, will be in charge of building the new headquarters. Norwest has been without a home since their building burned back in 1982. Now, since then, the remains were imploded. Now that site is just one large hole downtown. The bank and holding firm chose Hines because they promised that the 40-story tower will be completed on time. Target date, by the way, December 1987. Another Minnesota-based company is doing well on the retail sales front. Dayton Hudson, the 5th top retailer in the country, is reporting a profitable 1985. That despite a sales slump that has hit most major retailers in the past couple of months. For the first 17 weeks of the fiscal year, Dayton Hudson reported sales of $2.3 billion. That's up more than $300 million from the same period last year. Retail sales should be no problem for Dayton's biggest Twin Cities competitor, Donaldson's. The store's annual warehouse sale is going full force tonight and tomorrow with bargains on everything from televisions to telephones. The long-awaited sales runs through tomorrow night in downtown Minneapolis. And the rush is on in amusement parks across the country now that the warm weather has officially arrived. And as Jeanette Harrison reports tonight, Valley Fair is gearing up for a big season.
The crank of a turnstile may be the only quiet sound at Shakopee's Valley Fair amusement park. It's a sound all but drowned out by screams of delight. Consumers seem to be in the mood for fun these days. Across the nation, amusement parks like Valley Fair are recording significant increases in visitors. At $11.50 a ticket, those thrills don't come cheap. But nevertheless, officials here predict this summer they will easily top last year's crowd of more than 850,000 people.
Hey guys and dolls, cats and kittens. Good afternoon and welcome to Valley Fair.
Valley Fair officials say their events have been researched and designed to provide fun for the entire family. That helps guarantee return visits from all age groups. And that may also be the key in the recent success of the amusement park business, giving them thrills enough for today and big enough to bring them back tomorrow. Jeanette Harrison, News 11, Shakopee.
And if you want your summer fun at a discount, Valley Fair is offering starlight rates beginning at 5 p.m. Sunday through Thursday. If your summer plans include a visit to abroad, you'll be interested to know that the dollar is still making a decent showing. In England, the pound is going for $1.31, still a good buy compared to past summers. Stock market took a plunge today, the largest drop since its late spring rally. The market closed down at 10.86, ending the day at 1,016.42. And that drought down south is spelling higher grain prices for Minnesota farmers. At the grain exchange in Minneapolis today, prices for soybeans and corn were up. That thanks not only to the hot spell down south, but also to a recent dry spell in Iowa. However, one commodities watcher says not to keep your hopes up. With a good rainfall, the prices will drop.
I think they're supposed to be getting some relief down there this weekend. Yeah. Thanks, Kev. Coming up next on News 11, is our country ready to mobilize its reserve army forces in the event of a war?
Pentagon experts say maybe not, and local reserve commanders tend to agree. We'll have an in-depth report on that and more news when we return. But first, a look at another of Minnesota's top high school graduates.
Alcoholics go to great lengths to hide their illness, especially from their parents. If your child has a problem with alcohol or drugs, call the Adolescent Care Unit. We can help. The disease is alcoholism. The answer is Care Unit.
It's National Frigidaire Week. Save big. Save now.
Available at Zephyr Sales in Minneapolis and Brooklyn Park.
Break the ties of tradition. This Father's Day, take the hint. Get Dad something he really wants from Mills Fleet Farm, like a comfortable hammock with stand, only $19.99, or an 11-piece golf club set, just $99.95. And for those hot summer days, the Igloo Little Playmate Cooler is only $7.95 after rebate. For the perfect Father's Day gift, shop where Dad does.
Ah, honey, it's just what I wanted.
At Mills Fleet Farm.
A fatal bus accident in California. The bus had been taking school children on an outing to Great America Amusement Park when it slammed into a stalled truck. One child was killed and at least 29 others were injured. Witnesses say seats on the bus were ripped from the floor and screaming and crying children were piled into the aisles.
On Dateline tonight, a single-engine plane crashes into a mental hospital complex in Louisiana. The single-engine plane clipped the building, then landed upside down in flames in the backyard. 2 people on board the plane were killed and 3 patients at the complex were injured. The plane had just aborted a landing at a nearby airport. And in Rhode Island, the jury has been instructed and is now deliberating the fate of Klaus von Bülow. The jet-set defendant is charged in the attempted murder of his wife. He said today he's confident he will be acquitted.
The Pentagon is tonight considering a one-day call-up of American military reserves for the first time since the Korean War. That would mean a day of active duty for some 500,000 reserve troops. And the reason for this call-up is to test our nation's all-volunteer military system, a test that some experts say would fail.
That's right. The Defense Department estimates at least 1/4 of the reserve troops would be found unfit for duty or not found at all. News 11 has learned at least one local Army Reserve Command has trouble keeping soldiers trained and in uniform. But local commanders want to change that, as traveling man Jim Douglas reports from Fort McCoy, Wisconsin.
Reports that the enemy is moving a tracked anti-aircraft vehicle into our area of operations. Our mission is to destroy this vehicle before it's moved into place.
16 years after his tour ended in Vietnam, Captain Dick Gillum still speaks the language of war.
If we do receive fire from the enemy, we will fire back and break contact as quickly as possible.
Dick Gillum is a professional, full-time soldier evaluating civilians in uniform, a switch for this former Green Beret. Gillum was schooled in unconventional warfare with U.S. Army Rangers, but he fought in Vietnam with the 1st Air Cavalry, a conventional force that rode to combat in Huey helicopters. In peacetime, Gillum joined the Army Reserve and became an officer in Special Forces. Today, Captain Gillum is a troubleshooter for the 205th Infantry Brigade. He must recommend how the brigade can encourage reservists to stay in uniform.
I think they're critical to the overall mission if the Allied forces are to be successful in accomplishing a victory.
The 205th Brigade loses nearly a third of its troops every year. They either quit or a few join the active army. Surveys indicate most soldiers who leave do so because of little support on their jobs or at home. Beyond that, young reservists are eager for more field training. That, they say, will motivate them to stay in uniform.
Enemy convoy in sight, ETA 2 minutes, over.
I think everyone would like to have more real-life, field-type oriented training. Of course, a unit that's not prepared to go to war and win a decisive victory is going to be more of a liability than an asset.
They're coming. To his superiors, who hope to keep motivated men in uniform, Captain Gillum would say this.
That the unit commanders at the company and junior field grade levels on down make the decisions, do the training, and if they make mistakes, then talk to them about it and drive on with it, because ultimately I think on the battlefield the battle's going to be won or lost at the junior officer and the senior NCO level.
In less than 3 minutes, it's over. A Soviet convoy is ambushed with rockets and automatic weapon fire. There are no survivors. Camouflage American troops of Bravo Company will withdraw before they call in covering artillery fire.
Fire direction center. Fire for effect.
Make believe, yes. But this very training exercise would be acted out with real bullets if Army reservists of the 205th Brigade are ever sent to battle. Today, Bravo Company is at full strength. But 8 years ago, there weren't enough warm bodies in the company to ambush a jeep, let alone a convoy. Platoon Sergeant Brad Flotton remembers.
We had about 19 soldiers in a rifle company that's authorized 154 men. And since that time, we have gone full circle, and we're at 100% strength right now.
The 18 and 19-year-olds who are joining the reserve today do so for reasons that weren't in vogue following Vietnam.
The reactions or the answers I'm getting are, I feel I owe my country, or I feel that it's a good thing to do. And it is a good thing to do. I think it's probably one of the finest things a young man or young woman could do.
On my command, in the trail formation, and acknowledge. 2, roger. 3, roger.
For News 11, I'm traveling man Jim Douglas reporting. Federal law requires reservists to report a change of address, but there's no penalty if they don't. And one high-ranking official says at least 40% of all reservists are not living where their records say they are.
Well, in sports, we'll have it all. Golf, softball, baseball, and track.
And we'll profile a Gopher shot putter who's gearing up for one of the biggest amateur meets in the country. Tom Ryther is next when we come right back.
Where there's Cadillac, there's action. Cadillac, the Cadillac of sales events.
Don't miss this event, Cadillaction, a factory-authorized sales contest. 85 Sevilles at 82 prices. Cadillaction deals on the last of the full-sized Eldorados. From $13,000 to $36,000. We've got the Cadillac you want at the price you want. This is where the action is.
Cadillac, the sensible choice at your Twin Cities Cadillac dealer.
If you think this bank offers you a no-fee Visa or MasterCard with checking like First Federal does, think again. This place, they don't even offer free checks like First Federal. And at a local bank, you probably won't get all the extra checking services First Federal offers. In fact, if you think you can find a checking account that gives you more for your money than our money market checking, don't bank on it. First Federal. Check with us and get your money's worth.
What are some of the things you can do because of electricity?
Shave. Mix cake. Bzzz. I use a cooling iron. Use an electric saw. Well, lots of things run on electricity. That's all I know.
When you think about it, we can do a lot of things because of electricity.
In the wake of last year's Aquatennial success comes a preview tonight of some top-speed water fun for this year's event. You're the passenger now as a Formula One racing boat takes a practice run down on the Mississippi. This motorboat will be one of the entrants in the World Champion races on July 28th. Professionals from around the world will compete in the races at speeds of up to 150 miles an hour. You know, I got an opportunity to do that last year. We ran out of gas.
Oh, but you got to do it prior. Oh, well, at least you got to do it
Oh,
quickly.
it was fun for about 50 feet. It was
Last
great.
time I went fishing up at his cabin on Lake Mille Lacs, that's how we trolled for northerns.
That's right. No wonder we
It was horrible.
But we made it across the lake very quickly.
We did, yeah. We got to the bar quick, didn't we?
We sure did. Well, after losing 12 of the last 13 games to Eastern Division teams, the Minnesota Twins head back to playing Western Division teams starting tonight as the Chicago White Sox are in town. The Twins will send Pete Filson against Rich Dotson at the Dome. The Twins trail California by 5.5 games, while the White Sox are 1.5 games out of first place. And the finals of the girls' Class A state high school softball tournament took place today in St. Cloud. Let's go to the scoreboard. In the third place game, Casson Manorville defeated Hoffman Kensington 3-0. In the championship game, here we go. The winner, St. Bernard's 5-0 over Glencoe. A great tournament for our pitcher, KARE-TV, who turned in 37 strikeouts while giving up just 7 hits in the games. We'll have highlights tonight. St. Bernard's is the new Class A softball champion. And in other sports news, the state track meet began this morning in Osseo with the Class AA action. We'll have finalists from the field events tonight on our Prep Sports Extra at 10 o'clock. And here is one great performance from today. However, in the 3,200-meter run, Jeff Taylor out of Moundsview turned in a new Class AA record, a time of 9 minutes, 7 seconds, and 4/10. And we'll have more on the track meet tonight at 10 again on our Prep Sports Extra. There he comes, crossing the line, and a new record right there. A lot of fine runners. One of the most prestigious local golf tournaments got underway today at the Minneapolis Golf Club, the Minnesota Golf Champions event. Defending champ Bill Israelson, you're looking at him as the player everyone has been looking at. He came in with a 74 today. Rick Ermentrout leads the tournament at 5 under 67. The tournament will continue tomorrow and Sunday at the Minneapolis Golf Club that's located in St. Louis Park. Well, the top amateur track meet in the country is next week at Indianapolis, and one of Minnesota's finest collegiate athletes ever will be there. Tonight, Randy Shaver, along with photographer Jim Douglas, profiled the Gophers' Ron Backus.
Not many people can take an oversized 16-pound marble and do this with it and say it's a warm-up to throwing it the right way. But then, not many people cast such an intimidating shadow or show such intensity as Gopher shot putter Ron Backus. In his strong hands, the heavy ball appears light. But it's not strength. It's more technique which enables Backus to let loose national contending throws consistently.
It just feels smooth and almost effortless, but you can just feel the power going out, and you just know, even before you look, it's going to be good.
For being cold, that's not too bad.
Ron learned the spin technique under the watchful eye of coach and friend Steve Forsyth.
Concentrate on throwing from the waist down and let the upper body just finish the way it naturally should. All right, let's get a big finish with the C. Right. No, big, because it looks good out of the back. Visualize that last throw. That was nice. That's really nice. That looked great.
Great throws mean long walks to retrieve the shot, but Ron doesn't mind. In fact, he plans on making a 70-foot walk soon.
No, really,
people think he's crazy to spend so much time throwing, then chasing a steel ball. But to Ron, it's more than that. It's chasing a dream.
I'm confident enough to think that I could be a national champion, compete in the Olympics, and maybe, who knows, come close or break the world record. I'm obsessed. I'm going to go all the way with it. I'm going to continue until my body says I can't.
Okay. Other than hitting the board, we looked okay.
Randy Shaver, News 11 Sports.
All right, we wish him well. All right, let's go to the French Open tennis tournament today. Bad news for the Americans. Yvonne Lindell serving to Jimmy Connors. And in that match, it was Yvonne Lindell all the way. Watch this rally. It went on and on and on. But Lindell won it 6-2, 6-3, and 6-1. And Mats Wilander of Sweden defeated John McEnroe 6-1, 7-5, and 7-5. So no Americans will be in the final. It'll be Yvonne Lindell against Mats Wilander. Now watch this play. A great shot by Lindell as Connors forces him to one side. Now, you think Connors would have the point, but look at that passing shot, that return shot by Lindell, and that is why Mr. Lindell won today.
Yeah, he is good. Thanks, Tommy. Tonight's 11 Country Good Neighbor helps promote and coordinate programs for the disabled. Meet Robert Peters of Bloomington. Robert is an advisor to the City of Bloomington's Office of Special Services. That office acts as an advocate for the disabled. Robert has also helped break down architectural barriers for the handicapped, and he's helped shape laws on handicapped parking. So we'd like to thank Robert for making Bloomington and 11 Country such a great place to live.
Coming up next on News 11, just about everything but the studio sink is gone now. We'll check in on primetime purchases down at KTCA-TV and have more news from the update desk when we come right back. But first, a look at another of Minnesota's top high school graduates.
These men are on their way to work. Their office, the Pennzoil Penske Super Truck. Inside, a car designed to win championships. Only one motor oil makes it inside the truck. Only one motor oil makes it inside this race car, Pennzoil.
Around here, Pennzoil protection is part of the equipment.
Introducing the amazing Minolta Maxim, the world's easiest SLR, because it alone has built-in automatic focusing. Look, Maxim's autofocus lets you get perfect shots before others can even focus. Change lenses. Maxim again gets the shots that used to get away.
Only the human eye focuses faster.
Minolta Maxim.
Only from the mind of Minolta.
What would it take to change the way you think about post-emergence corn herbicides? A herbicide that stops velvet leaf and your other major broadleaf weeds. A herbicide that stops worry about stalk brittleness, brace root damage, and vapor drift. A herbicide that gives you a longer broadcast application window. The herbicide is Buctril. Ask your dealer about Buctril. It stops weeds, stops worry.
Morning paper. Great news about a health plan for people with Medicare. Now Share Senior Care is free to new members. The full protection of Share Senior Care is free to new members till 1986. Share, Minnesota's most experienced HMO for seniors, made senior care free so more seniors will join. That lowers individual health costs. Call now about free Share Senior Care.
Shall we?
Yeah, we should.
There's so much more to share.
2 Minnesota schools have been singled out to receive asbestos funds from the Environmental Protection Agency. Lindale Elementary School in Minneapolis will receive more than $420,000 to eliminate asbestos hazards from its buildings. And Lambert Public School in southwestern Minnesota will take $190,000 to clean up their problems. The EPA gave out grants and interest-free loans totaling more than $45 million to help more than 300 schools across the nation clear out the asbestos hazards.
Mary Stuckey is standing by now in the newsroom with an update on yesterday's chlorine gas leak in Brainerd. Mary?
That's right, and it's good news. All of the 59 children injured in the leak have now been released from the hospital. 7 of them had been held overnight. A maintenance man, however, does remain hospitalized in good condition. The leak happened yesterday at the YMCA in Brainerd when workers were changing chlorine tanks at the pool. The man charged with the murder of 2-year-old Sarah Cole-Jornson and the attempted murder of her mother has been found competent to stand trial. You'll remember police found a car in South Minneapolis, and inside the blood-spattered car was the body of the child. Richard Wall is charged with first-degree murder, attempted first-degree murder, and kidnapping in the case. 10 people arrested outside the main offices of Honeywell have been found not guilty of trespassing. The group was arrested in the May 10th protest against Honeywell's involvement in the manufacture of missiles, bombs, and other weapons. The jury found the 10 people innocent because they were arrested on public land. KTCA's fundraising auction is winding down tonight. This is the public TV station's 16th auction. And as Janet Mason reports, it's the most successful.
The mood is upbeat at KTCA's Auction 85. These people are cheering because it looks like the station will meet its fundraising goal of $500,000. KTCA couldn't have done it without the help of its 3,000 volunteers. This is the station's 16th auction, and Kathy Carlson has volunteered her time for all but one of them.
It's my way to make a contribution to the station because I don't have big bucks to write out checks. And the other thing is the people down here are so neat. It's like having a family reunion every year. So I can't wait to get down here to see everybody.
KTCA is calling this the most successful auction ever. Much of the credit goes to these volunteers. Janet Mason, News 11, St. Paul.
And finally tonight, an update on Big Mouth, the beluga whale. The whale has gained back 200 pounds of the weight he lost while he was very sick. He now weighs about 1,600 pounds, and believe it or not, that's underweight. His normal weight is 1,800 pounds. Also, zoo officials say they'll be changing his bandage every day, and they hope that'll heal up the infection on his lip. If all goes well, Big Mouth will be back on exhibit in 2 to 3 weeks. Paul and Marty, I think everything's big about Big Mouth.
Yeah, he looked like he was happy. A little smile there and everything. You have a good weekend, Mary.
Thanks, you too.
Well, coming up next on News 11, we'll meet a nature lover who has turned his home inside out to capture nature's sweetest songsters. Stay with us. We'll be right back.
Now Showing presents
Project Main Strike, for which each of you will pay me $100 million. $100 million?
I want no part of it, thank you.
The rest of our discussion must, of course, be confidential. Wait outside. Does anybody else want to drop out?
When the bottom drops out and Grace Jones wants to shove the world around, ain't it great 007's on her case? Next.
Drop your shorts and bend over, Mr. Babar.
Speaking of bottoms,
probably feel 100% Moon River.
Fletch usually has his in a sling. He's a reporter who always lands on his feet, or lands afoot.
Better tie your shoelaces.
Oh! Thanks a lot!
Now,
I have an idea for a story that would actually take place better in California.
What would you be going after?
Health clubs.
Oh, God.
No. Why not do a story about how they're turning into the St. Louis bars of the 80s?
John Travolta is also a reporter, calloused on top of the world, but when he falls for one of his subjects, the bottom drops out.
Hey, everything I wrote in that story is true.
Everything the other reporter wrote about me was true, too, but it still hurts.
Here, Rambo is betrayed and captured in today's Vietnam. His double-crosser thinks he has him trapped in the bottom of hell. Does he?
Rambo, this is Murdoch. We're glad you're alive. Give us your position and we'll come to pick you up.
Murdoch. I'm coming to get you.
And finally, the government has created the ultimate humanoid.
He's just a little boy, flesh and blood.
You're now saying it can feel human emotion.
Yes. He experiences pleasure and pain.
He's the perfect machine, but when he wants to live like a human, the bottom drops out.
You're going to shoot it down? 10, 9, 6, 5.
Sponsored by Now Showing. Enjoy the movies.
Those of us with indoor jobs all too often must ignore the sweet sounds of nature while we try and make a living. But tonight we introduce you to a man who isn't about to ignore the great outdoors just because 4 walls and a ceiling come between him and the world of nature he loves to hear. Ken Speak reports.
It's not unusual to hear sounds of the early morning, but most folks don't see the animals responsible for those sounds.
the Baltimore oriole that tootles its song, the hungry yellow-headed blackbird that whistles with his mouth full, the cardinal that skitters its melody among the treetops. But while it's interesting to see the arrangers of those morning melodies, here in Shorewood, listening is the important thing. Listening through microphones spotted around John Berkey's yard. Microphones with their wires snaking through the grass to the house, taking the outside sounds inside. Yep, the first thing John Berkey does in the morning is turn on the gear that brings outside sounds inside. Berkey is a commercial artist, specializes in paintings for science fiction. It's an indoors job, and John Berkey likes the outdoors. So he's built his sound system to ease that closed-in feeling a guy can get.
There's a difference in the size of the room, to me, when the sound is on and when it's off. It closes in some when the sound is off.
But other than that, John Berkey says there's no big reason for his listening to nature sounds. No big reason except that it's just downright pleasant. But maybe there's more to it than John Berkey has thought about. Maybe there's something basic about the sounds of nature which affect humankind. Perhaps something that sets the brain in the proper order or gets it going. And maybe humankind could learn a thing or two by listening to the sounds of nature, by listening and hearing. Ken Speak, News 11, Shorewood.
That's wonderful
Really,
sound.
real pleasant way to go.
Yes. Well, Barry Finn tells us now that the weekend may hold some trouble for us.
Yeah, right now we've got a severe thunderstorm watch. Take a look at it for about the southern one-quarter of the state. It does not include the metro area. Tomorrow, hazy, hot, and humid, record-breaking heat, and we could see some heavy thunderstorms develop again tomorrow night, so keep abreast of the latest weather developments. Tom?
All right, Barry, all those state tournaments going on. We'll have our special sports extra tonight. Jeff Passold and I will have the results for you. And, of course, the Twins and Chicago. Again, the starting pitching lineups, Pete Filson against Dotson. Be anxious to see how the Twins do against Western Division teams.
This final note, this is the last night for the News 11 hour at 5. Beginning Monday, we're splitting this up into 2 half hours. One will begin at 5 o'clock. That will be followed by NBC Nightly News. We'll have another half hour for you at 6 o'clock. And for all of you that have appreciated this newscast, we appreciate that fact that you enjoyed our hard work. We guarantee you will like the 2 half hours as well. Have a good weekend. If we don't see you at 10, have fun all weekend long. And watch out for the storms on Saturday night.
Bye-bye.
Balancing your checkbook?
Right.
Getting more complicated and expensive, right?
Right, with maximum and minimum balances per check charges, ATM charges, monthly charges, plus special 25-cent credit for every $38 less transfer charges charged.
You know, TCF's pass card checking with its hundreds of cash machines is simple and free with a low minimum.
Free?
Pass card checking is smart banking.
TCF is smart banking for all the times of your life.
Ah, friends, we're Viking Chevrolet in Fridley. Look at this car, 1978 Honda Accord. Look at this price, $1,988. Now wait till you see this unit. Ah, friends, here's a 1984 Suburban automatic air conditioning trailer towing package along with a 74 Airstream, roof air, twin beds in the rear, stove, double door refrigerator. Oh, friends, what a package, $23,888. Let's pick up the phone. Let's give us a call, 786-6100. Yeah.
Monday on Sunrise, the first workouts for Canterbury Downs horses.
And will things work out for workers at the AMC plant in Wisconsin? Those stories for you Monday at 6:30.
Good evening. I'm Tom Brokaw with NBC Nightly News.